OneChain.ai, RPS Labs, and Blade. And early global, you will pair with Midu and Metacraft. So to start off, let me introduce Kylie, our incubation program manager. She will introduce a bit about Web3X, who we are and what we do. Hello, Kylie.
Hi, thanks, Mike. Allow me to introduce. So we are proud to be one of the first incubator and investor for Web3 startups specifically and blockchain companies, generally in Vietnam, APAC regions, and now we extend to Central Europe and North America. We are also an investment fund with a of 10 million USD. About our team, this is our CEO, Mr. Eric Duong, Blockchain Product Manager at the SAP Berlin, founding member at the Stanford Blockchain and AI Research Lab. About our 5 main activities are event, education, hackathon, incubation, and investment. And our core product is incubation program, an 8-week mentorship for Web3 startups to better their product. We have achieved some impressive number. We have organized and coordinated more than 12 meetup and conferences for Web3 community with more than 2,000 participants. And regarding education, we organized 5 bootcamp and workshops on programming language and combined with Solana, Cosmos, Sui, and more than 212 participants. With hackathon, we had done 10 hackathons and proud to be hosted a Solana first hackathon since they set foot in Vietnam. And the main product of Web3X is incubation program with more than 50 projects each. And I will talk more about our incubation program later, so you can have a clear view of our program. We have impressive number with investments such as 7 pitching event with 2,050 participants from VC investor and 50 project joining and 200,000 from direct granted and invest. We are also a partner with more than 25 blockchain foundations and with strategic partners such as Solana, Cosmos, Aleo, Metis, Conflux, Ethereum, and Sui. And they also grant us and we support them in building builder community in Vietnam and Southeast Asia. And as you can see, Web3X also has partnered with event partners such as the Killing, Aptos, ICP, and Polkadot Energy. There are some pictures about our previous event. About which event we have as a side event in Vietnam Blockchain Week with 5 pilot private pitching event with total 56 projects and 200 investors. We also have builder meetup with a speaker from Solana Foundation, Agran, Metis, and Conflux with total 2,200 builders attending. We are now and some picture about the workshop with Solana, Cosmos, Sui, and programming language course. We not only host hackathon, but also got hackathon participants from South Korea, Japan, and China. And we are proud to host 2 hackathons and co-hosted 4 hackathons with total 60 projects. Okay, so about our main product incubation program for Web3 project, we have 2 phases. The first one is we have 8-week workshop, and every week we will teach our project about different stage of the startup cycle and to get our project ready to launch. And then about mentorship and course every week we will have expert will work directly with our project to further startup. About phase 2 is like a lifelong connection. And after 8 weeks, we will decide if our project can move to phase 2, start with demo day or investment from us, and also fundraising, marketing, legal, finance, HR, or recruitment. About community, we still ensure about our project opportunity to attend future events held by us and our network, introduce about our project into private group and community with other Web3 founders, investors, VC. We have on here are some pictures about incubation program partner. We have partner in 3 batch, and about project joining, they will get free credit up to 200,000 USD from AWS, Google Cloud, Airtable, and beside. The project will receive discount from partner such as listing service in cloud, OKX, Maxi, BJ, Launchpad, and Launchpad such as Podcast Starter and ZStarter. And today we will have chance to meet up with market maker, Vortex, Cumberland, CLS Global, and Hearing Global. We have a huge network of projects such as Fecha Wallet, FlowX Finance, Demand Network, and we invite about Bitching 3. We also invite more than 300 VC and investor and participants to join pitching event such as ABCDA, E Capital, C Square, Block Hub DAO, and Blockchain Founder Fund. Okay, so that's all about us. So now, thank you a lot.
Thank you, Kylie, for the introduction. Thank you so much. So that's a little bit about us, Web3X. And now let's welcome our special guest today, the market maker representative. They are going to share about their business insight and also give the project the advice that you need. And for the panel guests, please turn on your mic and camera when it's your turn. And if you have any slide to show, please let us know so we can grant you the access to display. First of all, allow me to introduce Dover, BD Manager from CLS Global. Dover, could you have a presentation about yourself and your work?
Yes. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to connect with you all and tell you a little bit about CLS. CLS, or Coin Liquidity Solutions, we've been providing or the company has been providing market making services since 2017. Before that, the team was providing services on traditional exchanges. So they brought their experience of doing into crypto. By now, we have more than 500 active clients. About 400 of them are primarily on centralized exchanges, but we have about 100 of them only on decentralized exchanges. By now, we basically partner up and collaborate very closely with tier 1 players such as OKX, KuCoin, Bybit, Gate. We have we support a lot of our clients on secondary markets such as MXC, HTX. We also work very closely with tier 1 launchpads such as DAOmaker, Speedify. For some of them, we do for 70 to 80% of projects that launch, we do their For others, we do for their own tokens, for example, DAOmaker. This is a short introduction about CLS. I am BD at CLS. I would be happy to tell you more. Let me know, but that would be it basically as a just short intro.
Thank you, Dover, so much. Glad to hear from you. So next, our second guest is Alex Williams, OTC Digital Assets from Cumberland. So Alex has some emergency work, so he will show up in the panel discussion later. And our third guest is a co-founder of Vortex, Gleb Gora. Hello, Gleb. Could you introduce about yourself and Vortex?
Absolutely. Hey, guys, it's a pleasure to be here. So Vortex was initially founded in 2019. We initially started as an asset manager and high-frequency trader in most liquid pairs. But since 2021, we've transformed most of our tech towards market making and have been focused on providing those solutions ever since. I'd say probably one of the things that distinguish Vortex from other market makers and also sort of like make us competitive in the field, and also other reasons why Vortex has been developing so fast, is actually our tech. It's pretty unique in the sense that we focus on a lot of things that other market makers don't necessarily focus on. As an example, as our tech was primarily made for asset management and profit making, most of our clients, actually 76 or 77% right now, are net profit. One of the most competitive probably things we do in the field is actually making profit for clients, not just by sort of like helping them manage their token position or something else, but actually making that profit from trading and using the algos based on fair price, tunnel strategies, and many other approaches as well. And also similar to what Dawood from CLS mentioned, we do help projects on fundraising as well. We do work with launchpads, exchanges, so that's one of the things we cover as well. We try to make sure that we're not just the market maker, not just the trader on the trading pair and token pair, but we're actually helping projects on multiple fields, including the fundraising, including listings, including advisory, and basically making sure that all of the aspects related to a token are actually covered.
Okay, thank you, Gleb, for the introduction. Thank you so much. And our final guest is Clarence Lim, co-founder of Erin Global. Hello, Clarence.
Hey guys. My name is Clarence. I'm a co-founder at Herring Global. So a little bit about myself and Herring Global, right? I started my crypto journey in Jan 2020. Back then, I was a trader at Autonomy, covering both OTC and market making. So back then, Autonomy was one of the top market makers in the space. And we focus a lot more on liquid and semi-liquid odds, right? So I cover both OTC and market making. A little bit of history. So in 2021, we actually had a home run, and in 2022, Autonomy actually had an acquisition bought by blockchain.com. So blockchain.com actually bought out our desk for a 9-figure acquisition. So myself and my other co-founder, Irvin, we spent a year and a half there just building the institutional business, growing the business, and a little bit Q3 of last year, we kind of felt like market was pivoting quite strongly, and we saw the opportunity, so we started Herring Global.
Thank you, Clarence, for the quick introduction. Thank you so much. Next, let's move on to the panel discussion, navigating Web3 opportunities for builders and market makers. And for this session, Mr. Eric, our CEO and founder, will be moderator. And our panel guest, please turn on your camera and your mic when you speak. Thank you so much. Eric, are you there?
I can hear me?
Yes.
A bit. Let me double check my Zoom. I haven't used Zoom for quite some time. Let me set a correct view. Okay, that would be perfect. Thank you a lot, guy. I hope that the guy from Cumberland could join us in the next 5 minutes, but never mind. Also, Trio so great as well. So a bit intro from myself. My name is Eric. I'm the founder of Web3X. It's basically already got introduction from my teammate over there. But I would like to talk a bit more about myself. So I ever bought my first Bitcoin back in 2017. Back then, buying a Bitcoin is not that easy as we do right now. I also see a lot of my friends who used to work for big corp, like from Facebook to Google, YouTube. They quit and they start their own Web3 journey. And since then, I told myself that I could jump into the market someday. And finally, back in 2019, I actually do so, working for the ERP software giant as a blockchain product manager, developing several private chains and also developing several private solutions for that. And we actually jumped into the area of VC and invested back in 2021. And still now, we do a lot of more, including incubation, also do some events, some foundation, doing some community for the some blockchain foundation in Vietnam, as I said here. So glad to be here. I would be the moderator for today, and I would like to have a very dumb question to the distinguished guest for today. So, from your point of view, what is a market maker? Because I know a lot of founders, when their product or project actually go on listing, they did transaction by themselves. They got some query, they do it by themselves in some CAG, some deck, even some tool developed that you can become your own market maker. So, from your point of view, what is exactly market maker and how do you guys benefit project and founder? So I would like to point my finger, not first time, to maybe Glenn. Like, how do you define market maker and what is your benefit to the founder and project in general?
Sure. So let me start with just a very brief intro of who market makers actually are. So in crypto, there's actually two types of market makers. One of the more traditional type, which originated from the traditional markets and was actually the very first type of market makers, is the loan-based market making. So that's the type of market making where the market maker basically gets their token from the project as a loan. They can have a call option. The strike period is typically 6 to 12 months. And they provide liquidity to the markets. That's once again, the most traditional type of market making there is. It benefits the project in a very direct way, in the sense that projects get both token and USDT liquidity to their markets. Their market, therefore, are efficient, not volatile. There's always enough liquidity for, well, almost always for all of the market participants, and etc. And then there's a type of market making which is present mostly in crypto. It's not a case like for traditional markets. It is the retainer-based market making. So that's the type of market making where market maker works with funds of the project. That's what Vertex takes, for example, and basically make sure that all of the market making activities, all of the trading activities, and everything else is actually adjusted to the project KPIs. So that's kind of like a shift in market making, from a sense that the market maker fully controls the market, works with their own funds, towards a market maker actually having flexibility and adjusting to projects KPIs rather than in the first case. So that's the two types of market makers. While it's obvious how the loan-based market maker benefits the project, it's not always clear to people like how the retainer-based market maker can benefit the project, but there's actually much more benefits than compared to loan-based market making. So there's a lot of benefits. First of all, same as loan-based market maker, actually the retainer-based market maker focuses on enhancing liquidity, but just with the project's funds. But apart from that, there is trading strategies, there's not profit for clients, there is, as I mentioned, business development help. There's a lot of other things that are actually were not initially covered by more traditional players.
Thank you a lot, Blair. How about you, Jovu? Want to add anything? Any counter feedback or any comment on that?
Yes, absolutely. What I wanted to just to answer, what is market making? Market making, they have currently we have few main tasks that we need to do, but priority, the task number one is to create a favorable trading condition by providing liquidity. Imagine a market, Binance, OKX, as a store. Person walks in, they want to purchase something like cereal, they have US dollars or USDT or Bitcoin. They want to buy that cereal and walk away. The next person comes in, the market maker needs to make sure that the next cereal is available for the next person to take it and leave it. That's the primary job of the MM, is to create a favorable trading condition by providing liquidity in the order book. So that's task number one. That's what market makers do. The loan-based and retainer-based is the model of generating a profit or working with a project. But the task of market making is creating favorable trading condition, and the number one that falls down is by providing liquidity, both sides of the order book. Doesn't matter how you do it, but that's my take when it comes to what the market maker is and what they need to do.
Thank you. Lawrence, do you want to add anything besides the trust London?
No, so yeah, I think the first two panelists describe very clearly, crystal clear on what market makers' role exactly is. So I think that's as clear as it gets, right? Just putting bid and offer, so that when your community come and trade, they always can either buy or sell comfortably, right? Of course, in today's context, the role of market maker has evolved into, as the co-founder of Vortex and BD at CLS, they mentioned, right? Now the whole business landscape has gone to a space of advisory, connecting people and stuff like that, other value adds. So that's where the current market making scene is at now.
Oh, I hope that from audience, from the founder side, you already got basic concept on what market maker actually do and how they benefit your project in general. Then I would like to come to second question. I think some of you already mentioned on that aspect when you introduction about your firm, but it's very critical. So I would like to ask, so what is the single most important characteristic when you choose which project to work on I remember from you, though you said mentioned like you mostly working with Launchpad like Citify and DAO Maker. If some project launching on them, then you mostly 80% working with them. But I would like to hear more on maybe Clarence from here in Global, because I know you guys are pretty new in the market. Is there any special requirement, special characteristic when you actually choose which project to work with?
Yeah, for sure. Maybe I'll start off by saying we actually our team was actually ex-autonomy. So actually we have been doing market making since 2017. So that's autonomy's history. But anyway, in short, I think different market maker look for different things. What I know in the industry is that typically market makers have their preferred FDBs. Some of them, if they are providing a service just as a retainer model, they collect a certain fee and run liquidity on the markets. Some of these players can be a little bit indifferent because it's still a pretty vanilla service. So in Herring, we actually value long-term relationships. So we want to make sure that these projects is sustainable and they can succeed in the long run. So we do have a wide range in terms of market cap, but what we actually look at is whether or not they will be here for the next 1 to 2 years. If the answer is yes, then they are one of our preferred partners.
Okay, thank you. How about you, Gleb? What's your point of view from Botech?
Yeah, I would actually say that we're, in a sense of choosing projects, we're probably project agnostic in a sense that we try to work with as much of the wide portfolio of clients as possible. But we do have some basic criteria probably, which I hope most market makers have. We don't work with bugs. We try to be very careful with memes as well. I do know that some players in the field sort of like make massive bets on meme coins. That's not our approach. We don't necessarily work with a lot of meme tokens. We definitely do some basic due diligence. We rarely work with anonymous teams. We rarely work with teams that are only sort of like planning their token for like a week or 2 weeks and sort of like then just let it be. We try basically sum it up and wrap it up. We try to work with projects that have clear vision, clear execution, teams that are actually capable of doing it and making sure that we're actually working with projects long term. Because Vertex has client retention on the market for quite a lot of time, and we do tend to actually we do aim to keep it this way. We do tend to sort of like maintain this highest client retention, and by picking projects that are not necessarily long-term ones, we're just going to ruin it.
Interesting. So no meme, no anonymous. I think
I'm sorry. Just a small correction. We do have some meme tokens, but all of them are very thoroughly due diligence by us.
Okay. I remember when I ever first your teammate. I think I meet one of your teammates back in Crypto Milan, and at that time I heard, if I remember correctly, you guys do interested in meme at that moment, but why so skeptical about it right now? Because as you might know, meme is actually the thing that actually bring back the market. There's no fundamental token, fundamental protocol actually outperform meme so far. So why you are so skeptical about meme at the moment?
Yeah, probably once again we do have some of the meme projects we work with. Just to be clear, some of the meme projects are absolutely fine, but the keyword here is some. I do think that having a market that is predominantly driven by the meme token FOMO and like people just aping in tokens on Solana, driving the value to insane numbers simply because there's a lot of tokens with a market cap of 100 million where I have like liquidity below 50K is obviously not healthy for the market. Like that's not something that actually drives the value. It's not something that actually drives the market forward. I do think that it's very good that meme token in the very start of their phase sort of like revived the market and actually sort of like brought a lot of retail users. But in the sort of like in the end of the day, all memes are not the projects that are gonna most of the memes are not the projects that are gonna be here in 1 or 2 years. Like except for Dodgy, like and probably Pepe and like the biggest ones out there, like all of the smaller ones are probably gonna fail eventually, and people will get wrecked. The market is gonna go down again, and that's what happened right now as well. So like I mean, that's the reason why we're not really supportive of like short-term trends. We look to the bigger picture.
Good to know. So it should be something fundamental, something for the bigger picture, right? And obviously, the last one I would like to hear like from you, from CLS Global. So I think I quite know like how do you guys select product, because I think there are 2 projects within my portfolio actually working with you guys. So, but obviously, feel free to add in something that the audience here, especially the first time founder, know what kind of requirement when you select the project to work with.
Basically, we are open for a lot of projects. We don't basically say that we don't work with a certain category, but we would like to value the projects that are focused on a long-term run. They have a strong vision, passion, as Clarence, like if I'm pronouncing correctly, mentioned. For us, it's super important to work long-term, work on the retention with projects, working with them long-term, help them to expand. That's our primarily the way we look and select the projects. If a project just we don't want to engage with the projects that is just for 1 week, that they won't just we would like to work with projects that helps to build their reputation, helps to work with us like long term. That's the way we basically select the projects.
Oh, thank you very much. I also would like to remind the audience, if you've got any question, feel free to type in your question to our panelists. The first one. Second one, I saw some new project just joined, so please add your name and your project name so that we can know who you are and we can select you to go one-on-one with the panelists later on. Okay, let's move to the next question. I'm glad you just mentioned about some meme got like 100 million evaluation with 50,000 something LP. So exactly the third question I would like to ask the panelists. So how do you guys contribute or support the liquidity of the project in general? So maybe as I already called out your name, maybe glad you would like to put in your first thought.
Sure. So as I mentioned, Vortex is a retainer-based market maker. So directly, we're not providing liquidity to projects we work with. But if there is such demand, like if a project does not feel like they could cover all of their needs by their own utility liquidity, we do have a lot of partners that we actually use for both central exchanges and for the world of DeFi as well. So when it comes to DeFi, the most common type of liquidity is just liquidity providers to liquidity pools directly. When it comes to central exchanges, the most common type of liquidity is actually loan-based market makers. So we do have a lot of cases where we work with loan-based market makers in the same market. Basically, our friends like GSAR or either anybody else out there with a loan-based market making model just provides liquidity to tier 1 and tier 2 exchanges, and we're working there on a retainer basis to support the markets in other matters, mostly to make profits for clients and to make sure that other exchange requirements are also fulfilled. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, but also for DeFi in general, do you also support project to maybe find the LP investor in general, or you just let them do it by themselves? You're just working on loan-based model in general.
Yeah, so for DeFi, really like the most common type of actually helping projects get liquidity is finding liquidity providers who provide liquidity directly into a liquidity pool. That's really like what about 90 or 95% of the type of funding are there. That's not an easy task, by the way, because a lot of the liquidity providers who can do that, they have very strict due diligence. So it's not the easiest task out there. But there are various platforms for this. Like sometimes the project can utilize their own community to provide liquidity to the liquidity pool. Sometimes there are special crowdfunding platforms where people can, once again, can have some liquidity pool farming programs or like staking or something similar directly in the liquidity pool. And basically, that's like, and third, we just have a liquidity provider who provides liquidity directly. So there's like the 3 types of funding for DEXs. And really like that's most of the projects use nowadays.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, do we lost Clarence? Oh,
Hi.
yes, yeah. Did you
Yeah.
want to add anything?
So for sure. So I think it's pretty vanilla that providing liquidity just means like putting out algos to fulfill certain liquidity requirements. But I think on top of that, if you look at the second layer, it also means stuff like mirroring more liquid exchanges into less liquid exchanges, mirroring DEX liquidity into SEX liquidity. Now you have Uniswap V3, which is concentrated liquidity. There are strategies around providing liquidity around the DEX space. So I would say this is a rabbit hole that we can always go down into if anyone is really into the topic. But I would say like the main there are basically, I think, tons of strategies to just boost the liquidity so that your community, despite DEX or SEX or whether or not they are in certain exchanges that cater to certain areas or they are in like other less liquid exchanges, the whole point is really to make the bid and offer thick enough so that everyone can trade.
Thank you very much. How about you, Dawood? Any final thought on the topic? How to increase the LP project in which you are working with?
Yes, we do provide liquidity. We have we do provide the loan-based MM as well, but projects need to pass due diligence, as you know. If they pass, if they are basically, in short, if they're a strong project, yes, we do provide the liquidity. We also have the ventures arm that invests into projects as well. But primarily, if they ask and they pass, we provide the liquidity. But we also have certain things in order to increase if they focus on DEX, and if they want to focus on increasing their pools, we can suggest a few different ways that they can do with us in order to increase it.
I mean, it's not very often, but I heard sometimes say when market maker actually providing LP or also got investment to the project, they do services for. It that somehow they double the risk of losing money because they also do market making services and also they invest their own money in it. What do you think about that topic, especially for you, Dong, because you also got investment arm within your company?
Very good question. Like it's like a pyramid. If you go to the top where there are only few like great projects and there are so many players, one of the ways that big players get into projects and become the MM is by investing into them. That's how it works currently. You invest, and then this is one of the ways that you can get and then provide the service. That's basically what I'm seeing from my perspective. Regarding working for the best interest of projects, we have the transparency level that I haven't seen, but many other players are starting providing as well. For example, we provide full transparency. We fetch all of the data. We give all of the data. We provide weekly reports, Excel, JSON file, CSV files. We give them different bots that they can download the current on centralized exchanges, the order book. We basically fetch the data from DEXs. We track the wallets. We basically track how many times token changes like wallets. We call it change of hands, like on DEXs. We provide full transparency as much as we can. But when it comes to investment part, we are super excited about the project. That's why we try to get like the team, not myself. We have a team dedicated that decide that they're interested in the project, and also we would like to work with that. So that's how it works currently. Like if you see like big players, big MMs, that's how they do, like as you know.
Thank you a lot. So some further info regarding the investment and also the market making service at the same time, right? So maybe I got this question, maybe go to Clarence. Obviously, there are some requirements, some characteristics when you choose a project to work with, right? But while working with them, what else you require from them? What kind of, let's say, companionship they need to work with you rather in the long run, just not like 1 or 2 months.
Yeah, exactly. So as I earlier mentioned, I think what we are looking for is a super, a longer term relationship. So of course that number one expectation of the project is that they need to have 100% commitment to their own project. If not, like, why are we all here, right? What's the point? So we want to see the project keep building, keep improving on their product. It's kind of like an investor. So we typically think in the lens of an investor as well. So if we work with quality projects that have good upside, we typically have our own good upside as well. Number two, keep talking to us. Like, we are always happy to chat about the markets with our clients, regardless of whether it's like macro or talking about various teams, various narratives. Likewise, we like to keep hearing about your project. What are your needs, especially on the liquidity front? How we can help to further, improve on like the trading on the liquidity front, so that we keep our standards pretty high. So clear communication between the two parties. Number three is, of course, strategic alignment, right? So even as the market making space has become so competitive right now, in the past when Autonomy was doing market making, I probably can name 5-6 market makers. Now I probably can name like 80 or 100 market makers out there. So even as the landscape change, it will still make more sense if the alignment of interests is there. I.e. to say, if the project does well, the market makers have some upside or some incentive, so that we keep putting on our energy, our focus to really help you in this whole journey. And on that, right, we have seen a lot of cases where, some projects, they leave no room for market makers to have an upside. For example, in the loan option model, maybe suggesting a 10x from cost strike on the loan, right? And then what eventually happens is, some market makers, for the sake of just closing the deal, they just say, okay, done, right? And then but your strike is 10x away. In between, there's not much. There's some that you can do, but there's really not much meaning to it, right? So a lot of market makers, they end up having passive approaches to liquidity provision. They end up being very passive even in their advisory to the projects, which sometimes is just not ideal in a partnership like that.
So 10x is not good, right? So I saw that Alex is joined already.
Yes,
so
hi guys.
Yeah. Do you already turn on your mic or camera? Hello, Alex. Okay.
Yeah, can you see me? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Hey guys. Yeah, apologies for joining late. I was caught in meetings earlier, but delighted to be part of the conversation.
Okay. Cool. So we are still in the middle of the question, and the next one I will give it to you. Yeah. So back to you, Glenn. So Clarence mentioned about 10x is not good, and then keep talking while working together. How about you? While working with project, what else? What is the support? What is the companionship you're looking for?
Yeah, first of all, I just wanted to say that I really like a lot of things Clarence mentioned. I definitely think that they are true, especially about the competitive design of the market, competitive landscape of market making. It's definitely true that back in the day there was much less players in the field than there are right now. So basically, a lot of things that are already mentioned is also something that Vertex provides. But once again, sort of like on a if we mention things that are not necessarily covered by a lot of creation fields, I think that one of the most competitive edges of Vertex is once again the profit trading. So like a lot of the clients we work with right now, we actually have 100 clients right now. A lot of the clients that work with us actually mostly enjoy the profit making in the first place. Like that's the reason why they go to Vertex, because that's not necessarily something that they get from other service providers they worked with. I do know a lot of examples of good market makers in the field. I do know a lot of examples of bad market makers in the field, and basically probably our bet is on the stack. So we do try to make the stack as competitive as possible. We do try to invest in it as much as possible. We do have a lot of approaches that are not necessarily very common in the field right now. For instance, a lot of the market makers out there, their standard approach is just having like a bunch of trading team members looking at the chart 24/7, like the semi-automated tech that is not necessarily really as efficient as it should be, and just having account managers who are in chat to answer all the questions. Like that's not, for instance, that's not the approach of Vortex at all. Our tech is actually fully automated. It's automated in the sense that even if there is no human supervision whatsoever, most of the trading is done by fully automated algos, fully automated liquidity provision algos, fully automated trading algos as well. It obviously depends upon the markets and the project itself. There's different mechanics for DEX and for taxes, but once again, that's sort of like the sort of things that we try to develop, and we try to sort of like find projects that are actually have the resources for us to utilize this tech to the fullest extent, and also to enjoy the benefits of it in the first place. And also, apart from this, we do have a lot of the complementary services that I also mentioned in the beginning that we do feel like actually help projects that work with us develop further. Like a lot of the projects right now, and that's also something that a lot of my colleagues mentioned. A lot of the projects are looking for investment, liquidity, actually much more than before this rally started in the first place. And it's also very important. I think it's not probably something that is directly related to the question, but I also think, like, based on what we discussed so far, it's also very important for market makers to be able to sort which projects are actually the one that's worth a shot for investment liquidity provision, or just like working with them, and which are not, because there's a lot of, like, I think probably 90% of projects that are currently raising liquidity, currently raising their fundraising rounds, their VC rounds in general, about 90% of them are not going to be successful after TGE. Like, a lot of them actually fail within very short time frame from their launch. So it's very important to sort of like choose who you actually invest your money and, most importantly, time in.
Agree, totally agree. As Clarence mentioned, 10x after TGE is not good, right?
It's definitely not a good target.
Yeah, so Alex, you got time to introduce a bit about you and Cumberland later on when your panel
Sure.
ends. Then now in the middle question, I would like to give a question to you directly. So from the point of view as a market maker, when working with a new project, especially maybe a little bit early stage project, let's say so, what kind of risk you are anticipating, and how do you, especially from your point of view, working with Cumberland, mitigate the risk a bit?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Eric. So we see this, the market making side, as part of a wider partnership. So I will go into Cumberland DRW later on, but we have various other elements to the business, including venture, including a labs team. We have a separate DeFi company as well. So we have the full stack. And when we're looking at projects, it should be a two-way process, right? It's a sales process between the market maker, and it's a sales process also from the project. I think we're a little bit different. We're very focused. We work with not a huge amount of projects. Others like to engage with 100 or 200 projects. We feel that isn't the right model. So what we'd like to do is really use the full suite of DRW and the resources that we have. We have the labs team. We have a lot of experience in building our own companies in this space, both in digital assets and in wider fintech. So we look for that partnership. We look for long-term deals, and it's an opportunity to do a lot of business development together. And we're looking to bring value beyond just two ways on Binance.
But it's just a way to choose and select the project to work with. But how did you reduce risk while working with them? Reduce risk of losing money while working with project in general?
Well,
Is there any
firstly,
tips or tactic?
yeah, sure. So as I said, we're very focused. We work with very hand-selected projects. We have the venture team. We have the labs. So we go through an extensive diligence process as well. We need to have high conviction in the project. And equally, I hope the project also does some diligence on us as a market maker. So those projects that we support, we have high conviction as well, and we'll do everything that we can to support them. Ourselves, we at Cumberland, where I sit on the trading desk, we're not an advisor, but so we have the labs team that is extremely experienced, and hopefully the projects would lean on that and the advice and go to market strategies, etc.
Thank you a lot. How about you, Joey from CLS? I hope that you are not the 100 project at the moment, as Alex mentioned. How do you reduce the risk?
Yes, I'm sorry. What was the question? That was.
How do you reduce the risk working with the new project in general?
I think the Gleb and Clarence and Alex, yes, can you guys hear me? Yes, shared all of the points that I agree with. We also, when it comes to projects, we have also track like long-term relationship, working with them long-term as much, bringing value to each other, helping them to grow, because the company itself has a lot of experience helping some of the meme tokens. For example, Floki, we've started working with them once they got listed on Probit. It's tier of like 4 right now, exchange, small Korean exchange. It was back in the day, but it still exists, but they were just got listed. Right now, they are one of the top meme tokens. Like, we would like to work with projects that are long-term, help them to grow as much as we can, do as much as we can, basically, on top of MM, so they can succeed. But I agree with all, yes.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing that insight, especially the case with Floki. I would like to ask a bit more tricky question, and I need you guys to be very frank and open because we've got a lot of founder here. So, what will you do if the project did not perform as you expected? Is there any mechanism? Is there any way where you facing that situation? I would like to go to maybe Clarence again, maybe share some information why you working at Herring and maybe also back then autonomy. How did you work with projects?
Yeah, so I think this question is quite it's a follow-up from the previous question when you talk about risk, right? So in terms of risk, I see it more as like a three-pronged. So number one, of course, is a market risk, which since we are on the trading desk, we have our tools, we have our market views, and we have our proxy hedges and stuff like that. So I think that's all fine. Number two and three is more of like maybe your regulatory risk and your operational risk that may be a little bit more relevant to newer projects. I think also at the very start, I mentioned that market making and a project is a long-term partnership. So we are very careful on the regulatory part, right? If there is something not quite right or something that we kind of feel at an early stage that if a project is dabbling into something that we might not necessarily agree with, I think first of all we come in more as a advisor role, right? So we try to advise if the project still doesn't really, if the whole thing just doesn't register in the project's head, right? Then it really depends on the severity. If it is a no-go zone in terms of regulation, then hey, I think our stance is that we will stop working with certain projects, right? In terms of other operational risks, I think most of the project founders that we have worked with in the past, they are always very thankful for like the things that we spot for them. So if we see a red flag, something that they are doing or something that their partners are doing, or some risk that maybe is some kind of ecosystem risk, ecosystem dependency, or treasury risk, or stuff like that, most of the time after we give like one or two nudge, they will typically go back on track. But then for this other operational risk, if a project is a little bit more stubborn in terms of feedback, then as market makers, we are also limited to what we can do.
So giving some feedback, warning. If the battery track is good, if not, then you stop working with them. Okay. How about you, Alex? What What when you do?
I thought it was an
Clarence,
excellent
from
answer from Clarence. He's covered all the main points. As he mentions, from a trading point of view, a risk point of view, we have our hedges, etc. We also, believe in the contracts that are signed as well. So that's part of the partnership for the good times and the bad times. But the focus on the regulatory environment is paramount. That really encompasses everything that we do as a business as well. There will be a diligence process, a comfort level, but we expect all projects to share that same conservatism and the process as well.
Thank you very much. So I think there are only 2 questions left before actually we go on one-on-one. One question, the next one will go into Glad and Dovu. Obviously, there are a lot of incidents in the market, right? Maybe a long time ago, we got FTX, and then we got Luna, and recently, and got just now that they're going to pay back the Bitcoin been hacked like back in 10 to 12 years ago. How do you, as a market maker, going to anticipate in such incident, and how do you react in such incident to reduce the loss for you and also for the project you are working with? Maybe Glad first.
Sure. Just to double check to make sure I understood the question correctly. You're basically asking how do market makers prevent the crash of the project, or is it something else?
Yeah, with incident in the market. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So I mean, it's probably very important to understand that the market maker is not, even though market maker is a key player for when it comes to the token side of things. Market maker is definitely not the only driving force when it comes to projects. I mean, if the team itself or the investors that are key stake shareholders in the project or something related to this are not very keen towards actually continuing to develop the project, and there's nothing the market maker can do. Like you can't just be the exit liquidity for all of the VCs and all of the shareholders of the company if they do decide to rock the project. So market maker is unfortunately not the not the answer towards preventing founders who are not very keen towards actually doing something meaningful from rocking their project. But when it comes to just general market volatility or general FUD or the events in the market that once again increase this volatility, the liquidity provision is really the only answer here. Like the liquidity provision when the order book is deep enough, like when liquidity is calculated in a meaningful way, which actually has the potential to limit this volatility, that's actually the only answer. So probably what a lot of projects experience, it's not the crash of the project and it's not like the downfall, but for instance, what a lot of projects experience, actually all of them, is for instance some pressure on TG, some pressure on vestings, and especially if the vesting schedule is calculated in a pretty fast way, a lot of projects can actually experience significant selling pressure on vestings, for example. So when it comes to market situation like this, that's a completely normal procedure. Like a lot of projects can have some of the tokens sold during those periods. That's what market makers, for instance, and liquidity providers are for, to make sure that the market is not going down 30% because of that. But when it comes to situations like Luna, well, there is as in this meme, there is nothing we can do.
Yeah. Okay, that way I'll hang. Yeah. How about you, Dovu, CLS Global? What happened in a time like this? What will you do to reduce the risk a bit?
Basically, I also agree with Glad that when it comes to we are some sort of a arm of a project helping them when such event happens. We go directly. What it means basically for us and how we can influence such events is it means basically one thing: selling pressure. So we go to the project directly. We ask them, what should we do? If they don't know, we can provide our suggestions. We will give them the risks, the potential, what can happen if we take that particular step or action. Then we just act according to what we agree with the project. But Eric, these events happens on us with many different projects. There are different players, the tokenomics, the investment, the vesting, all of that happens. It just basically, by the end of the day, it means the selling pressure. And there are only few ways that we can act.
Okay, thank you a lot. So that will be the final question before we get some time for Alex to introduce about Cumberland and also go to one-on-one session. So my last question to all of you guys, if it is possible, could you name one successful use case in which you work with a successful project? And from that use case, pick out how to get success when working with market maker like you, so that our founder, our builder here can learn from that use case, from the experience. Maybe I go with you first, Alex.
Thanks, Eric. I'm not sure if I can share names, so I'll be somewhat opaque. But we're currently working with 4 of the top 20 L1s. And just to reiterate what I said about long-term partnerships, we're a trader. That's our core business. But there are other elements to the business, including DeFi arms, and we're options traders. So from a liquidity point of view, we're working with those projects to provide liquidity on centralized exchanges, on DEXs. We also have a suite of structured products on that chain, and our incubator, our labs team, is building on that particular L1 as well. So from a BD point of view, from where I sit, that's kind of what I'm looking for in a partnership to bring all the verticals together. Thanks.
Thank you a lot. So on full-scale partnership, not only market making, but also a lot of other things. Okay, Clarence, any advice, the successful use case you would like to mention?
Yeah, so I think I would just mention one thing, right? As similar to Alex, I won't mention any names or I won't mention any numbers. I won't do it just to sensationalize things, right? So I think one thing that Herring did right is in the midst of a crowded primary market this year, we actually started into looking at a couple of old projects and helping them, even on the Web3 side, to rebrand and to build new narratives, right? So of course, right now the industry is also trying to pick up that there's this new narrative that high low float high FDV thing is putting some weight on the newer names. So we actually wrote the narrative from the start of the year, where we helped a little bit of an old project who has their total float already out in the market. So till the time from the time we started working together until now, they managed to list on 2 major perpetual exchange. But it's also noteworthy, since there's a lot of projects out there, it's also noteworthy to mention that this founder is a real hustler, right? So they really have a very strong pipeline. Together with our advisory, I think it's really a good partnership. So we play our part, and the project team really need to give their 100% in building the product, building new partnerships, engaging community, so on and so forth.
A lot. Building community, engaging partnership. How about you, Black? Any use case? Any names? Or
For sure.
advice?
Yeah, I'd probably say actually one of the things that is probably different from both market makers that are currently present and actually most market makers out there. Vertex actually has a very strong emphasis on the mid-cap projects. So our main specialty is actually not necessarily targeting the sub 100 projects or stuff like this, but actually working with the mid-cap projects anywhere from 1 to 100 million market cap. That's actually one of the that's both main target base we have, and that's the main projects which we actually help with both market making, which is the core business, and some of the other supplementary and complementary services as well. There's actually plenty of use cases when it comes to helping projects not only get some profits or some value from the market making, but also increase their market cap in general through both working with us, working with correct marketing parties, working with collect launch pads, etc. There's plenty of case studies. Basically, us working with projects, and over the course of our partnership, a lot of them came from 1 or 2 or 5 million market cap towards 50, 70, and even 100 million market cap. Probably some of the names which I can share for sure is probably a project like Fair Network, which is a launchpad. We started working with them actually back when they had something like $1 million-ish market cap, maybe even slightly less. And at the all-time high of us working with them, their market cap was somewhere near 50 million market cap. So there's a lot of cases like this. That's probably one of the main values that we bring to the table, and eventually we'll obviously scale towards bigger projects as well. But our main aim is, while everybody's forgetting about sort of like those projects out there, our main aim is actually helping good founders to sort of like to actually grow in this field.
Yes. I'm looking for the last add-ins from you, John.
I mentioned Floki. Maybe without like, we focus on helping the project to grow and expand. This is primarily when we start speaking with project, this is what they want. But if anyone knows Floki, Flux, Status, Jasmine Coin, you can ask the team members. Eric, you mentioned that you have 2 projects in your portfolio. You can ask them and they will be able directly to give feedback about CLS themselves, the projects, the way we do the MM. We have a lot of projects within top 100, top 200, top 500, top 1000.
Okay, thank you a lot. That would be the last question for panel today. The next part is we spend some minutes. So I'd like to introduce a bit about him and also about Cumberland. In the meantime, I ask the audience to remain in the rooms. Our team will set up the private room so that each founder will got 15 minutes to make each market matter. So Alex, it's your stage right now. Feel free to introduce a bit about yourself and also about Cumberland.
Yeah, thanks, Eric, and apologies again for being late to the call. I think I've covered a lot of this actually over the panel, but in brief summary, I sit on the OTC trading desk at Cumberland. Cumberland is part of a larger trading organization in DRW. We trade across all traditional assets, equities, fixed income, commodities, etc. We were also an early adopter of crypto. We started the Cumberland desk, digital asset desk, in 2013. So we've been trading for 10 plus years. I believe we're the oldest OTC desk and also the largest. We've been covering the spot markets for that decade, but at heart, we're derivatives traders. So we're very interested in how that's evolving. It's early, but we're very present on the exchanges. We're the #1 market maker on CME for Bitcoin and ETH options, up there on Deribit, and we also trade bilaterally. So that's our trading arm. That's where I sit. But we have those other elements to the business, including a separate DeFi team. We have various options desks covering derivatives and structured products. And then we have the other elements, including venture and our labs team. So we look at this whole space very holistically. We've been investing in digital assets since 2016. Some of our projects include Fireblocks, Talos, and Pith, and various protocols as well. So we're always looking at this from a top-down situation. Very excited to meet the projects later. And happy to go into the details, but I'll keep it brief because I appreciate that time is precious. And again, sorry for being late.
So let me say thank you a lot, Claire, Clarence, Tobu, and Alex for joining the panel today. Hope that we can meet face to face someday. I will be in the ETC Brussels next month. I'll bring some project with me from Vietnam and South Asia. Hope to crash by, maybe some seats or face in there. So thank you a lot, guys, for being here today. So I give it back to my teammate who will guide our one-on-one section. Give back to you, Mai. And bye. See you soon.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. It was a great conference.
Okay, thank you, the panelists, for your valuable insights. And before we continue, our panelists and attendees, do you have any final question or recommendation? All right. So I think we can wrap it up here and move forward to the private discussion. And there are some changes. So you can see there are 4 rooms CLS Global, you will pair with Blade and GM Square. Cumberland, you will pair with Gmail Network, Protect and Superwalk. Vortex, you will pair with UKISS and OneChain.ai, and here in Global, you will pair with Midu and Clubout. Okay, while one project spend time with the market maker, the other two will wait. The other one will wait outside the room and get notified when it is your turn. And yeah, thank you so much. And my team will give you the access